Hello, everybody. My name is Andre McClendon, exposing today THB.
And I'm finally being exposed.
All right, so I'm going to be going through, asking them certain questions about his YouTube channel, how we got started financially, and actually how we met online. So let's start off. So THB, how did you get into finance?
So I've always been passionate about making money, finding ways to make money, and things like that. I've always had a knack for money. Being without money, I think being poor at a certain stage of your life makes you motivated to learn about money and things like that. So that was my best motivator, I would say, like being poor in college and stuff. I'm like, I need to like not be this way for long. So that was my biggest motivator. And I saw that investing was really a way to get rich. And most people who are rich are in the stock market. They're investing something. CDs aren't getting them there. Keeping their money in cash is definitely not getting them there. So investing is the way to go.
So which market did you start off first?
U.S. markets.
U.S. market?
Yeah.
And what was it, like stocks? What stock did you
It was stocks. So it took me my risk tolerance. Like I remember when I first started buying stocks, I would sell them as soon as they were at a gain. Like I owned like 3 shares of Disney, 3 shares of some other company, and as soon as I had a gain, I would sell.
Wow.
And it took me a while to get that risk tolerance to where it is today.
Nice.
Yeah. Like some of the losses I have today, I would have gone crazy if I saw like half of that when I first started investing. Yeah.
So how did you transition into making your YouTube channel with that?
So I started finding stuff on YouTube. I was in a job that I was like going into the office 5 days a week and stuff like that. I was working like 10 to 12 hour days and stuff. And I was starting to think like, I want to find something else. And so I've always been a dividend investor, actually. I've always looked at ways to have income coming in. And I would see, like when I started with E-Trade, I would see they would project my income out. And at the time it was like maybe $3,000 a year. And I thought to myself, I'm like, there's a way I could make enough on this, but I felt like I would need like $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's a way I could make enough money on this to like do the, to not need to work. And then I started finding stuff on YouTube. I never even knew there was a finance space on YouTube. But like 5 years ago or so, I started finding the big channels like Andre G with the magic tricks and stuff, and Meet Kevin and Graham and those guys. And I started seeing what they were doing, and I said, I think I can do this too. And it took me, after I found them, it took me another year or two to actually take the jump and do it. But I finally got to the point where it's like that voice in my head got louder, and I'm like, I need to go in and do this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And now, when you started, so now you talk about Yield Max, but what did you talk about when you first started?
Oh, everything. I was a personal finance channel. I still am, actually. It's just that the Yield Max and the dividend content does the best of anything I cover. But I still am a personal finance channel. I'll talk about credit cards, growth investing, even crypto, anything finance related.
And so far, like, that led you from transitioning, actually before we dive into that, how did we meet?
So that's interesting. I was actually going to bring that up. So I joined a bunch of different groups on like Facebook and other social media, YouTube groups and stuff like that. And I started meeting a few other YouTubers and stuff. And it was like ways to grow. Some of them are like, subs and stuff like that. Like they're not very like good quality, but it was kind of random. Like you and I happened to be in one of the same groups. You reached out to me and I found out we had a lot in common and stuff. And then we did I think I went on your channel first. We did a live stream and then just really hit it off. And then we've been podcasters ever since, I think.
Yeah.
We informally had our podcast channel going like before we met Blake.
Oh, yeah.
We were doing it like either on my channel or your channel for like a year. And then we finally created the podcast channel.
Yeah. And every time we talk about the interesting stuff, my channel.
Yeah, right.
Funny stuff, but yeah.
And I remember when we got no views. We would go for like 3 hours and we get like 20 views. Yeah. Those were the days.
Wow. So, and also with that, how did you meet Blake? In the same fashion?
So he found me when I was covering Tesla and Yield Max, but that was like the first one I covered. He was writing articles about it on Seeking Alpha. It's really cool. Like when you start doing something that you're really into, and like people start like emerging that can like help you or become a collaborator or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of like you. It just happened. Like, and then he was watching me. He started commenting, and I could tell like he really knew his stuff. Yeah. Like the way he worded stuff, his writing was really good. And then I'd look at his articles on Seeking Alpha, and I'm like, wow, this is really like well reasoned, well worded, and stuff like that. And I started telling him, oh, you should come on one day. And finally, he decided to. Like he was thinking about it, and then I guess maybe like me, like the voice got louder, and he decided to do it, and then the three of us formed the podcast. Yeah.
Meeting Blake for the first time was interesting, but I mean, I like him in the group. It's a really good combo.
Yeah.
Trio is really good. And also, so what are your plans with YouTube, and like where do you want to take it?
I'd like to do it full time. It feels like it takes forever to grow. Really, until I started covering YieldMax, I was not growing much as a channel. Like, covering these types of dividend funds has grown my channel to a level. It's accelerated a little bit based on where I was, like the views I'm getting now. And I still have a long way to go, obviously. But when I started, I remember the days of getting 4,000 or 5,000 views a month. Yeah. And making like just chump change. Like it would take me, at one point it took me 3 months to get paid by YouTube. So now, I got to the point I'm at least getting paid every month. And then I've had my best month in March. I think the best month for the channel was like 68,000 views. Wow. Yeah.
And also, like, when it comes to YouTube, like, where are some of the hurdles, some of the strengths, like, what's the ins and outs of YouTube?
So the ad revenue, I feel like, was better 3 or 4 years ago, like a lot of things. And it's like cut in half, I think, compared to what it used to be. It used to be really good, and it used to be easier to grow. I think during COVID, like when the stimulus checks were going on and stuff like that, like it was really easy for some of these channels to grow. In fact, I go back and look at some of the channels I find, and a lot of their growth came in like 2021. And I'm like, if I would have just started like a year or two before I did, I wonder where I'd be.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the growth. But when it comes to YouTube, like, when do you think you hit like the next mark? Like, what's your next mark on YouTube? Like 5,000?
5,000 is the next one. I thought I'd hit it before being here, but hopefully I'll hit it here. It's an ebb and flow. Sometimes it grows faster, sometimes it doesn't. So.
And also, outside of the YouTube, like, what are your goals financially?
I'd like to make several different income streams, which I do now, and I'm growing them. I'd like to make enough income investing to live on, make enough on YouTube to live on. Like, I'd like to say, all right, I went from a point where one job was my whole source of income to now I've got like 5 jobs, basically, that aren't hard. Yeah. I've got the YouTube making 6 figures. I've got investing, making 6 figures in income. So, yeah, that's where I want to be.
That's some good goals. So anything else you want to tell the audience before I move on?
Oh, I'm glad to be here. We're with a lot of other YouTubers here, and I'm just kind of picking everyone's brain about how to grow. Like, Retire on Dividends, who's back here. I can't wait to talk to him. He's kind of like the biggest channel in our niche right now. So, and we're going to meet some bigger channels today, too. So I'm really looking forward to today.
Right, yeah. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So that's the interview, guys. Thank you, THB, for being the guest.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah.
I'll see you. Peace.
All right. See you.